All right, this announcement popped up on Chief Talk a few days ago. I don't usually pay attention to these, but I clicked on this one just out of curiosity. And here's the winning design from this contest. And I guess they run these contests on Facebook, and people like to vote. I'm not a Facebooker, so I don't pay much attention to that stuff. But anyway, I looked at this little image, and just right away I can see a whole bunch of problems. And so I was curious, so I clicked through to the Facebook page, and I got the larger version of the image, and this is it. And now I've taken this image and sharpened it just a little bit, and changed the brightness, I think, just a little bit, just so that it would be easier to see, because the one from Facebook was kind of blurry, probably compressed somehow. And when I look at it in a larger view like this, there's just so many problems. And I guess that there's no real criteria for judging these. It's just that people take a quick glance and vote like. So let's take a look here. And see what's going on. This is just an image screen capture utility that I'm going to use. And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. And this is the first thing I noticed. It's a little big. I'm going to make that smaller. I noticed these floating corbels. I could see that in that little bitty image. And those don't make any sense. I noticed that these corbels don't seem to touch anything above. They're all dropped down. You can see the bottom of them, I would think, needed to be at the bottom of this piece of trim, and the top of them should be up underneath the soffit, underneath this roof. I noticed that if you look through these windows, you can see a wall that's siding back here in the back. That seems sort of odd. You can see that down here as well. You look through this garage door and you can see a wall that's siding. Let's move over a little bit. If you look at how these corbels are spaced, they're 20 inches or something, 18 inches maybe, across here. But if you look here, they're spaced out a lot wider. And if you look here, they seem to be spaced out even wider. Also, you can see how this piece of trim and this last corbel sort of hangs out here in the middle of nowhere. It seems like that should be tucked up under this roof. We go up here to this decorative railing. Up here, you've got these four pieces that are all the same size, and then you've got this oddball size one down here on the end. It seems like that those should all be the same width. And you can see the same thing here. You've got 1, 2, 3 that seem to be the same size, and then you've got this oddball down here at the end. If you look, see if I can. If you look here, there's something not right. There's a gap there. And I imagine that use soffit surface for sealing would close that up. There's something going on here. You can see kind of a tan color. So there's something odd there. If you look at this column, it's behind this rail, but none of the other ones are. So this column must be, for some reason, set back. And it's the same way down here. All these other ones are, the railing intersects the column. If you go up here, keep it on this railing, you can see that there's a little skinny post on this railing right here and right here. And there's one on each end. You know, there's one here and there's one over here. And I don't understand those. What I imagine is that this railing was just dragged from one end to the other, and then these columns here were placed manually without any regard for this railing. If you look at these shutters make no sense. Why do they all have curved tops to them when the windows are not? But if you also look right here, if you get to the point where this shutter is right here, and you see how that point relates to that point on the window, and you come down here and you see that this shutter is, this shutter, that point is way up here on the window trim, just like it would be if it was right up here. You've got this light fixture right here, and it looks like that right here is the top of this light fixture poking up through the floor structure of this balcony or porch up here. Everywhere you've got corbels, you can see it behind here. You could see it over here on the other side. All these corbels are up against a piece of trim. But if you look over here, there's a corbel, but there's no trim. Everywhere the wall meets the ground, like right here, you've got trim and you've got siding butting into the terrain. And I don't know anywhere that's allowed. That's like that over here on the garage, as well as over here. Here's a pretty minor one. These steps look like trip hazards. That rise is really small. Probably should be just 2 steps here instead of 3. Here's a pretty minor thing, but it just lack of attention to detail. Notice how this this bed, this mulch here, it seems to be raised up too high. You wouldn't have a square edged mulch bed like that unless you had some sort of something to retain it. But you notice how this mulch overlaps this walkway, and over here it's different. These lights are kind of odd because I don't understand why they're on. All it does is create goofy shadows that shouldn't be there. I mean, it's obviously a bright sunny day here, blue sky. So I'm not sure why all these lights need to be on. They just, they create all these goofy shadows everywhere that are sort of distracting. And this one on this end post, it seems like being on the columns here don't make much sense either. But this one is off, this one is on, this one is off, and the one on the end is on. And of course, right here, it's kind of, because of this light, this is kind of blown out. Now, my enhancement of this it's made this look a little worse, but in the original image, it was kind of blown out the same. I wonder what this little block is doing here. If you look at these two roofs, this starts up here and comes down here, and then this one is right here. And that can't be. This roof, this sloping shingled roof, would need to start up here if this roof plane over on the left side is correct. So I can't figure that out. This is kind of an odd intersection right here with this sloped roof plane in front not matching up with this roof plane here. Those should blend together, I would think, a little better, and maybe even have the gutter come across and then connect here and go across this way. If you look at the way this fascia comes down and hits this roof plane, and then we go over here to this side and look at this, they appear to be different. This one looks like it comes down, goes like this, and then goes across. This one over here doesn't. If you look at this piece right here, this big chunky corbel, and you go over here and you look at this one, you'll notice that the garage door doesn't appear to be centered in the wall. This short wall here is shorter than this wall over here. Over here, you've got this corner board that doesn't wrap around the corner. If you look at this decorative truss detail here in the gable end, now this of course might be intentional. if you look at this line right here, and then you look at this line right here, they're converging. So again, that might be just a little bit of a decorative detail, but my guess is that the pitch of one of these two things changed, or this decorative truss detail was just not drawn to the correct pitch. It's kind of hard to tell when you're looking at this sort of drawing, but it just looks to me like that the spacing between these columns is not the same. I mean, this space over here is obviously larger, but it looks like to me that this one over here is bigger than this one over here. And again, that's pretty difficult to tell. It also looks like these two columns in the middle are different size than these columns on the outside. Again, that's pretty difficult to tell. Architecturally, there needs to be a beam up here. You know, these columns need to hit a beam, which then supports the roof. They appear to just poke up into the ceiling. That wall doesn't seem to come down and make it all the way to the corner. So that's a bunch of stuff. Maybe Chief can ask for a little better judging on these.